Good morning, friends. Thank you for joining. I'm MK Anand. Thank you very much for joining this webinar. Sea Change is extremely happy to host MSME series. And today's session is all about time structuring then and now. This is going to be delivered by an eminent speaker, Mr. P.K. Raghunathan. He's a trainer and coach for management and business for more than 2 decades. Before we get on to his session, I thought I'll quickly share some inputs about our organization. Sea Change Consulting is our organization. We have been in the industry for more than 18 years. Mr. Prakash and founders and partners of this organization. Mr. Prakash is a CEO and business and leadership coach for entrepreneurs, mid-cap and large enterprises. More than 3 decades of experience and expertise in the management parlance. And I look after the strategic business advisory services for MSMEs. I'm also holding the office of the MSME subcommittee of Andhra Chamber of Commerce. We have done more than 500 projects for small businesses, mid-cap organizations, and enterprise organizations across the country and outside the country as well. We are supported by I request participants to kindly put your audio and video mute. We are supported with a strong consortium of 6 groups, which you could see in the screen, right from starting from strategic leadership expert group, right up to enabling transformation expert group, which talks about ISO related support services. Across the 15 verticals, 15 functions of any business, we are able to cater over the last 18 years. Our organization strength is more than 100 plus consultants are associated with us. We have marketing and success partners. More and more marketing and affiliates are signing up with us to take our services across the country. And more than 15 business functions we handle. As I mentioned, 500 projects, and we have touched more than 1 million people in the last 18 years of our service through various channels. Mr. Prakash, my partner and CEO, has written several books, more than 100 publications so far, related to business, related to behavioral science, related to even peaceful parenting, even for the home requirements. I have written and co-authored a book called 36 Golden Rules. This is for MSMEs. Some of the digital assets we built over the years are available here. More than 400 plus videos and blogs, hundreds of blogs have been written. Every week, Mr. Prakash writes a blog called Change Gears. As a newsletter, it goes to more than 12,000 people. So this is all available as a free readable version. You can always access to our digital assets for making use of it. We also have footprint outside India. We have a few clients in each of these countries we've been serving. With this short note, I would like to invite Mr. P.K. Raghunathan. May I request Mr. P.K. Raghunathan to kindly take up the presenter role. I have just enabled you, sir. Before Mr. P.K. Raghunathan comes on a screen, I thought I will quickly share an introduction about Mr. Raghunathan. Mr. P.K. Raghunathan is a management trainer and coach and business coach, especially. He has a total experience of over 3 decades. Banking, I have muted one of our friends who had some internal challenge, I guess. So, to introduce Mr. P.K. Raghunathan, Mr. Raghunathan has total experience of over 3 decades in banking, insurance, private aviation, and financial consulting, with functional experience on customer service, operations, project management, strategy, and training, of which he has experience of conducting training programs for over 10,000 hours. It's like, a pilot always talks about 10,000 hours, 5,000 hours flying time. Such an expert, Mr. P.K. Raghunathan, he has done more than 10,000 hours, not 10,000 people, 10,000 hours of training across the spectrum of various business functions. Currently, he conducts training and coaching for growth and development, career progression, problem solving, etc. He has a PGDBA and has also attended courses on balanced scorecard. I need to mention something very special about Mr. P.K. Raghunathan here. Mr. P.K. Raghunathan is an expert in balanced scorecard, which is quite popular among the L&D front and HR front, the enterprise organizations. Today, even MSMEs, we started implementing balanced scorecard, performance management system, to help them out to organize the structure of their employment and the employee engagement more productively and profitably. He has done several programs on balanced scorecard for Sea Change clients. In fact, he conducted a beautiful workshop for Andhra Chamber of Commerce members very recently. And he also conducts master classes for directors and among other leadership teams of various organizations. With this short brief, I thought I will leave this webinar floor to Mr. Raghunathan to take over. I welcome Mr. P.K. Raghunathan to enlighten us on time structuring then and now. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Anand, for kind words. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I would like to first take this opportunity to thank Mr. Anand, Mr. Prakash, and Sea Change Consulting for inviting me for this presentation. Sea Change Consulting has been in existence for a very long time and is doing enormous amount of work for MSME. I mean, to a certain extent, Sea Change has become synonymous with MSME because you go to Andhra Chamber of Commerce, people talk more about Sea Change than about Andhra Chamber of Commerce. That's the level of penetration they are making in that sector, and my best wishes to you all, sir, and let us continue to work even more in various other projects. Now, the subject that we have discussed and come to an understanding is that let's talk about time structuring with a theme, more importantly, which is keeping in the today's situation. The theme that Sea Change Consulting has been doing a series of webinars today, I mean these days, are on survive, stabilize, and surge ahead. Now that brought in a very interesting perspective for me to ponder over those three words. So in terms of should I view it from survival perspective or surging ahead perspective or stabilizing perspective? I mean, Mr. Anand and I had a long discussion about that, and then we realized that we have to address all the three aspects of it and not just focus on one aspect of it. So this is where my focus will be today. So moving on to the presentation. At any point of time, I am not audible or I'm not able to speak, my voice is not clear, please share it in the chat group or unmute yourself and share it. If you think it's required, please keep a notepad and a pen. Temperature is warm. Kindly keep a bottle of drinking water with you. Feel free to have a cup of tea or a coffee or a juice. Today, working from home is the new normal. So we have all the comforts at our convenience. Be comfortable to write your questions or thoughts on the Q&A space. The duration is expected to be about 45 to 50 minutes. It's about 11:10 now. So I would expect to complete by about 11:50, 55:12, depending on how it flows. My endeavor would be made to respond all the questions. What will be covered today under time structuring? Yes, we will spend some time understanding the survive, stabilize, and surge ahead. We will look at the components or the ways of time structuring. So time structuring is a new word for many of us. So let's try to understand how we view time in a structuring approach. I will make an attempt at the beginning itself to a certain extent to connect to the current situation that we are in terms of situational awareness, and where do we want to go is more an individual choice. So I've put in there in terms of where do we want to go, and we can explore in terms of from each perspective how we would view time. In terms of situational awareness, predominantly I'm influenced by my past exposure into the aviation business, where I was part of a private aviation wing of a company. The pilots always used to say that we should know where we are at any point of time. A good friend of mine with whom I did business with, and he's also a former pilot, he always says, Raghu, you're 1 degree off in the flying, in the aircraft, you are 8 minutes away from where you are. So I always remember that these 3 words coming to me: situational awareness linked to 1 degree and to 8 minutes. And 8 minutes, it is when you realize it, you're 1 degree off. So just imagine I have gone several degrees off. So to come back to it, it will take a long time. So let us be aware of where we are at this point of time. Going into the theme of it, so where am I? Am I in the survival mode, or am I in the stabilizing mode, or am I in the surging ahead mode? So let's try to understand what each of it means to us. Survival for many of us comes from somebody in the water drowning, or somebody in the well, or somebody in the hospitals. Those are some of the words that probably connect to us when we use the word survive. So continue to live or exist, especially in spite of danger or hardship. So we are existing, we are living. We are in a jungle, we are surrounded by few animals which we don't know how to deal with it. So my endeavor at that point of time is to survive. Stabilize. I borrow that word from the stabilizer which we use in all our major gadgets that we use at home, whether it's a refrigerator or an air conditioner. We all use a stabilizer. First important thing that they always say is which stabilizer to buy. That choosing the refrigerator or the air conditioner is something that we can do, but stabilizer is a challenge that we are not equipped to. So we spend time to discuss with. Will it deal with fluctuations? Will there be if there is a power cut, will it take care? Will my system not get affected? The thing used to keep something steady or stable. So that's a stabilizing or a stabilizer. So what is surging ahead? A sudden powerful forward or an upward movement. So we would have seen businesses surging ahead. So these 3 are where the theme of the presentation is. Ponder for a moment, where am I? It is not that all of us are in the survival. There are certain industries, even in this pandemic moment, that are surging ahead. I'm sure many of you, the biggest example that comes to mind that all of us are familiar is with Jio. Who would expected them to get about some 13-14 billion dollars of investment for their Jio? Surging ahead in terms of investments, and the business is expected to boom from there. Okay, so take the example a little further and understand what does survive mean. So I did some time to research on these words, because more importantly, if I have to connect time structuring, I need to know what these words mean from a business parlance, from a personal parlance. Survive. What are some of the key words? These words are only indicative. They are not cast in stone. So this may change depending on what stage of survival probably we are in. Some of the things that are required is to adapt. Very important to keep a cool head, especially when there is desperation going around. We need to be resourceful. We need to ensure that our resources in terms of people, our money are taken care of, protected. Ability to learn, adaptability is one. Ability to learn because new things are required. And I need to be charged up, pumped up to be able to survive. What about stabilize? A nice picture I could get. So in terms of, I realize that this is what probably stabilize means, that everything is done as a balancing act. Cash is king, extremely important. Cash is always the king. In business, cash is always the king. Definitely when you're in the stabilizing mode. I need to adapt my business model to the prevailing situation. I must reach out to my suppliers. I must communicate with my customers. Just because I'm stabilizing does not mean that I'll start relaxing. Stabilizing mode is where everything is going well. Even if there are external challenges, that particular stones that are put in there, even with a heavy breeze, that stones will remain where they are. That's the stabilizing part of it. Surging ahead. I couldn't think of any other example than a rocket launch. We understand today, even at this point of time, some of the businesses are surging ahead. I read, I mean, you will see the stock market. It is not, it did collapse for a while, but you see that stock market is surging quite well in the last about 1 month, whether it is the European market or the Asian markets or the American markets. I mean, all of us, at least me, expected that the share market will collapse and it will reach half of what it was. It didn't, which means that there is a broad level confidence in the system. So surging ahead, market dynamics have changed. There is an urgent need for me to deal with it. Am I going to be sitting there and not change? Today, pharmaceutical business, medical business, consumer businesses, delivery business, home delivery businesses, all are surging ahead. We need to ramp up operations and deliver what is committed. So this is in terms of those three aspects of it. I like to also share an interesting perspective in this. Wherever we are, whether we are in the survival mode or in the stabilizing mode or in the surging ahead mode, somewhere we are in the transition phase. Yes, since 17th or around about 16th, 17th of May, a lot of lockdown aspects have been slowly been withdrawn. A lot of relaxations have been brought in. Flights are operational. Shramik trains are operational. Buses with restrictions can be operated in the green and orange areas, and in some restrictions in the red areas also. So we are in a transition phase. So what does transition mean? I want you to ponder for a moment when I explain this. What does transition mean? Some of the common examples I will take, which you are familiar with. I would also like to introduce a beautiful word which maybe we are not familiar. We would like to familiarize with that. There is a lot of research done on this word, liminal space, liminality. A lot of research has been done to deal with transition. Transition does not mean only when there is a pandemic that we are in transition. We go through transition probably many times in our life. What does liminal mean? Liminal relates to transitional or initial stage of a process. I mean, that's a stage where it's called liminal. When it's moving from A to B, there is a space in between. So that's a transition. So there are waiting areas. So that's a very interesting learning I had. There are waiting areas. So what are the waiting areas we are familiar with? I mean, I'm going to Coimbatore by train. So I get into the auto, go to Central Station since I'm stationed in Chennai. So I go to station. From there until I board the train, that's a liminal space. I'm waiting. I am not doing anything. That's a liminal space. Probably that is where we are in many stages. We have crossed a lot of paths and we have come here. When I say we are in, Not all of us probably, some of us maybe. So we are in the transition phase. We have completed a big journey. Now we have to embark on another journey. So how do I use this phase that we are in to move from A to B and in between B being here? Parking lots are a liminal space. It's a holiday season for the schools. Yes, some of the exams are still pending, but by and large, uh, summer season or Christmas season or a Diwali season or a Dashara season, the schools which are at break, that's a liminal season. Airport waiting areas are a liminal space. Now, there are two types of liminal spaces. One is a certain liminal space. There is an uncertain liminal space. I am coming to the airport. My flight is at 12:30. I have come in at about 11 o'clock. I've checked in. I've gone in there. Unless there is a major issue which is beyond all our control, the flight will take off at 12:30. So that's a certain liminal space. There is also an uncertain liminal space. I couldn't think of a better example than in terms of certain liminal space. You must read about. We are familiar with caterpillar to butterfly. I also thought, let me introduce you tadpole to frog. It takes about 3 to 4 months before a tadpole becomes a frog. The processes that goes through, several stages that it goes through before it actually becomes a frog. If you're familiar in the old film of Tom Hanks, The Terminal, which he acted in, where he's come into that country, to US, he wanted to get an autograph from one of his father's friend. It's a collection item that he's having for his father's sake. He's stuck there because the country from which has come is having issues there. It's probably no longer in existence. There is a war going on. So his passport has become invalid. So he can neither take a flight and go, nor can he come out of the airport to go to the city. So that is an uncertain liminal space. I don't know when I will be able to come out of that space and go into where I want to go. Why I brought in that is somewhere some of us are in that uncertain liminal space. I know it will change. I know it will get better. Yes, people say it's a new normal, but the new normal will happen, or it's already happening, but I'm not able to see. But there is a bit of uncertainty in it. So I have to deal with that uncertainty. There is nothing I can do about it. So tadpole to frog, there is a certainty. Parking lot is a certainty. School is a certainty in terms of liminal space. Airport is in aircraft flying time. The gap, I mean, before that, waiting in the space is a certainty. But here there is an uncertainty. So let's deal with it. So how do we deal with it is what in terms of we're going to discussing. So how do we use our time? How do we deal with our time? Of course, you're familiar with time management quadrant. My session is not about time management quadrant of Stephen Covey. You can read about it in 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's a master classic. It's been a bestseller for about 15 years. Gentleman is no more Stephen R. Covey, but it's a seminal book. It's an amazing book. He talks about it. We are familiar with this. Important, urgent, important and not urgent, urgent and not important, not urgent and not important. We are very familiar with that. So we're not going to discuss that. I just want to bring in that we are familiar with this. This is going to be what I'm going to discuss about it. Will be a little different. You can connect them, but it's a little different. So what is this? How do I structure my time? So this is where we're going to spend about 15-20 minutes on this. How do I structure my time? Now, when we're talking about structuring our time, now I can look at it in terms of my whole day. But here in our discussion perspective, I would like you to connect with the structuring of a time from your work time perspective. Many of us work from home, but even there is a working time, let's say from 9 to 4 or 10 to 5 or 11 to 6 or some sort of a work time that we have. or some of us may continue to keep that old work time of 9:30 to 5:30, which I'm used to. So keep that time space for our discussion purpose. Or you may just keep just a meeting that we have for 1 hour, 2 hours, also as a reference point. So keep one of them as a reference point when I'm explaining this. Let's say if you're regularly going to be in meetings, you can take one meeting. So you can relate with it. How is the time structured within those 2 hours of the meeting, or within that 8 hours of the day that I spent in my workspace? You want to do it from a home perspective? Yes, of course, you can do that. Again, keep about 2-3 hours times something to connect with. So you'll be able to relate with it. Then you can slowly expand it to 24 hours. So how do I structure my time? One, there is withdrawal. We talked about structuring and suddenly I'm using the word withdrawal. What does withdrawal mean? Withdrawal is spending time out of contact or out of relationship. Physically present but emotionally absent. Something that I'm familiar with as a school-going child or as a college-going student. My professors used to always tell few of us that you people are physically present but mentally absent. That's actually withdrawal. My mind is either wandering around, dreaming about something. My mind is closed. I don't want to attend to this. I'm not thinking about anything. Or sometimes the time that we do to fantasize, to withdraw from the meeting, or sometimes we are lost for a moment. We don't even know where we went. Something like a meditative situation that we were in the meeting. So since we're talking about a workspace in the two hours of meeting or the 8 hours of workspace, there are times when we withdraw ourselves. Working alone is not withdrawal. Withdrawal is I am part of it. I may withdraw from the meeting, come out and sit and do nothing, then that's a withdrawal. Or even in the meeting, there is a discussion going on, people are participating, but I am just not there. That's withdrawal. Second one, rituals. We're all familiar with rituals. Very common rituals that we follow in the workspace or in the meetings. Before it starts, we all greet each other. I greeted you all. Mr. Anand greeted you all. So we walk in a meeting. First thing, what do? We say hi, how are you? We raise our hands. We see somebody on the street. What is the first thing that we do? We say vanakkam, or we say hi, or we say good. All these are rituals. Simple rituals that we follow in the workspace is that first 1 minute or two, hi, how are you? How are things with you? Just that half a minute, 1 minute that we spend. You can extend it in terms of our workspace or home space also, where sometimes we do our pujas as a ritual. That's why it's called ritual. It's not done as a puja, it's done as a ritual. So that's, I am not visualizing it as something that I'm looking at praying to God. It is just a task I have to complete. It's a ritual for me. So even that becomes a ritual. Sometimes in the workspace, the ritual could be to go and say hi to our bosses. It's a ritual. Spend 2-3 minutes with the boss. He may say something, he may not say anything, or he may ask me something. That's a ritual every day I have to go through. That's a ritual, which is very essential. A meeting you will find never starts just like that. Just imagine if Mr. Anand started the meeting saying that, now Mr. Raghunathan will take over. How would you have felt? He did a ritual of greeting, welcoming all. He spent some time. So that's a ritual. Ritual is essential to start a conversation. Extremely important. The more rituals we do, the more connectivity we bring about it. We look at other ways of structuring time also, but starting point is always the ritual. You go in the airport, we talked about it. We meet few people, we smile at few people. What is that? That's a ritual. We say hi, ritual. Can I have your paper, please? Ritual, courtesy, ritual. He just doesn't come and take the paper. That's a ritual. Polite exchanges, common exchanges, simple exchanges, rituals. What is the third one? So we looked at withdrawal, we looked at rituals, we look at pastimes. Believe me, friends, businesses succeed because of salespeople. Of course, innovations are there. Innovators are essential. I'm not discounting that. Salespeople actually get the cash. Many of the salespeople's common technique is a pastime. How they spend. We say that chumma pe kada pestu varam pavan. The pain that he goes through is something only the salesman will experience. Mr. Anand, being an A salesman, he will understand that the pain of relating with. When I say pain, okay, I'm sorry, I don't want to use the word pain in the negative sense. The challenge that he goes through to connect with people, the connection with people comes through the pastime. So what is the pastime? Chatting. Again, common parlance. Many of the offices, they have their water coolers. People go there, have a water, have a coffee or something. They pick up, they say hi, which is a ritual. Then they start chit-chatting about it. Did you watch yesterday's movie, or did you watch a serial yesterday? So what did you do yesterday? Where did you go yesterday? How was your day yesterday? How is the weather today? It's a pastime. Extremely important. The sales people go through this every day with a client. In fact, they find new ways to generate the pastime, because the customers would stick to certain ways of pastime, but I also want to get some information about the customer. So I ask him general questions to make him share some of his thoughts so that I get to know. I'm spending my time. It is not going to help me in my business at all. He may talk about his business, he may talk about his industry, or he may talk about his customers, he may talk about his problems, he may talk about his family issues. These are all pastimes, just chit-chatting for about 10-15 minutes. That 5-10 minutes, if it is not spent, first ritual, pastime. If I don't do this pastime, somewhere I will not have a strong connectivity with another person. Just give me a moment. Allow me to drink some water. So it's about predictable subjects. There is no action point. He's sharing about his family, his problems, about his business. There is no action points that is required from our side afterwards. A lot of exchanges happen. It is required that controversial topics are avoided. Yes, you may talk about politics or movies, but as long as you don't get into this debate, I support DMK, you support ADMK, now that's no longer a pastime. That leads to sort of disagreements and debates. Pastimes are just to spend away some time. The more you do that, when I say more number of times you do that in the conversation, every time there is, the bonding of the relationship will be that much more stronger. Does it come very naturally? Let me be very candid. It doesn't come very naturally. Because as a child, I've been taught to use rituals when guests come. As a child, when I'm sitting, when guests come, they say, Papa, uncle vandirukkaru, hello sollu. So we say, hello uncle. So I am not there in the past time many times. So I have not understood the past time as much as it is required for me. So whenever somebody comes to your home, it could be anybody. It could be the plumber who comes in there to repair something, spend some time doing the pastime. But why should I spend time with him? You are spending time to connect with that person. Instead of just sitting there and observing him, what he is doing to monitor the performance, do small chit-chatting. Yeah, but it could so happen that I may spend 1 hour chit-chatting. No, that's something you have to be careful about it. That is where you have to realize that at this point of time, I have to withdraw. I'm not going to be there participating all the time, especially when somebody comes to repair at home, or there is a washing machine repairer or a refrigerator repairer, or somebody is come home in terms of family is come, uncle has come, aunt has come. You have to spend some time with the pastime. Extremely important. In business parlance, this is the highly criticized time. Commonly, what do bosses tell people? Don't waste time. But if you don't do this pastime for few minutes, the relationship will not be built in a strong manner. Okay, why am I emphasizing so much on pastime? I mean, I'm not come to the main part of it and I'm just spending time. Yes, if you don't do the ritual, pastimes will not be. You can't start a pastime without doing it, without saying hi. You can't just say, so how was your day yesterday? You have to say hi, how are you, how are things? Then you do the pastime. That is when the fourth one comes in, activity. What is activity? Activity is goal oriented. It is goal directed. That's where I've come in there. I've come to meet somebody. I've come to spend some time with somebody. Or somebody is come home. I wanted to discuss what is the purpose. This is to enrich and ensure my goal is achieved. What is my goal? Something I've written there. I want to achieve in so many things in the next 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. All activities are related to those goals. The meeting that the session that I'm conducting, that's part of my goal activity. This is an activity for me. So if I have to do this activity in a business parlance, in a meeting, in a sales environment, here because of the environment, we are dealing with how to do the pastime. So we are learning here, but even here, some of them who spend time doing video chatting, what is that they do? They want to build in that relationship by speaking no relevant topic. So that's what is that? That's a pastime. So to ensure that I come to the main activity, which is goal oriented, which is focused on achieving my objective, which is where I will probably spend most of my time when I'm interacting with this client or interacting in the group or during the day. Most of my time is related to activities. But I start with rituals and pastimes. So activities are something that I work on, that I act on. It could be physical activity, it could be a mental activity. Thinking is a mental activity. I'm thinking about what should be the plan of action. That's a thinking activity. It could be working, it could be at home, taking care of its children, activity, cooking, activity, washing clothes, activity, washing utensils, cleaning can be an activity. So we started with withdrawal. We looked at rituals. We looked at pastimes. Now we're looking at activities. Now, fifth one is games. You remember there was a brief example I shared about in the pastime. Sometimes we must be careful as to what we talk so that we don't end up having a conflict or a debate. That is, in a way, a game that we play. Eric Berne uses the word game. There are books written on that. Games people play, written by Eric Berne. It sold significant number of copies in the 60s. What is a game? It's a sequence of interactions between people. Usually ends up in both feeling bad. That's the whole point. You have this debate. I support DMK, you support ADMK. Let us be rest assured that the transaction or interaction is not going to end up pleasant. But what did it start with? The intent. Start with the intent to have a strong relationship, a close relationship. Even when we are debating on DMK and ADMK, I'm just taking this DMK and ADMK as an example. So even at the stage, I am trying to convince him to come to my side, and he is trying to convince me to come to his side. Eventually, what we end up doing is we go apart. Games are also called as a sort of a pseudo intimacy. And my endeavor was to build a relationship with him, but it ended up failing in that attempt. There is also a set of a pattern that happens. If you go back and reflect why some of the relationships sometimes went sour, or even in good relationships, with very close relationship, there are games that are played. It happens as part of it. There are withdrawals, there are pastimes, there are rituals, there are activities, there are games that are played there. So games, in terms of, it leaves behind with a bad sense of a taste. It could be trying to prove that one-upmanship could be one way of looking at it, or another way of looking at it. I'm trying to build a relationship, but it doesn't happen, which is also called as a pseudo intimacy. Next one, the last one, intimacy. How do I build intimacy? Intimacy here, it means closeness, proximity, strong relationship. That's what intimacy means. How do I build intimacy? There is an authentic exchange of interaction. There is openness. There is trust. There is candor. Now, when that candor is there, transparency is there, honesty is there, to a large extent, when there is genuinity, people tend to connect with each other that much more stronger. Activity may bring people closer to an extent, but it doesn't bring them closer. That's where you will find that, just taking the sales parlance or a business meeting parlance, sometimes you find that after the meeting is over, the same 2-3 people who are sitting there, it's all over, done and dusted, they start something very private to share, connect with each other. This is not chit-chatting that they're doing, that they're connecting. They may even disclose something very personal, which is what I've mentioned it here. It could also make them being vulnerable, which means that it could be misused. And that is where proximity happens, closeness happens, strength in the relationship builds. You just don't stop, complete, thank you very much, bye. Over a point of time, you make that extra bit of a connect. How do you do that extra bit of a connect? We talk about their personal lives. I talk about my personal life. I may talk about my family. You may talk about your family. You may talk about some of the challenges you faced, some of the issues that you wanted to share with somebody who's very close, and you start sharing, and the closeness starts growing. So these are the 6 ways that time is spent. Just to quickly run through. We're looking at rituals, pastimes, withdrawal, intimacy, games, and activity. Remember, we talked about the 2-hour time space or 8-hour workspace. Take a moment or do it later at your convenience. Draw a pie chart in terms of, in 100% of the 2 hours or the 8 hours workspace, how much time am I spending, or did I spend then? And should I spend now? Now the entire perspective has changed. Not that today time is more available. It is not the question of time being more available. What am I doing with that available time? Am I spending more there then? Now I'm spending more now in something else. Just ponder for a moment, think for a moment, do it later if required. But going back to it, what I wanted to connect with is, irrespective of where you were, many people say, start calling your customers, whether you're in the survival mode or a stabilizing mode or in the surging ahead mode. Just a moment. Irrespective of that, people say, start calling your customers, talk to them, connect with them, relate with them. want to talk to them for? That is where the challenge comes in. When you pick up the phone and talk, you know that customer well, you know that person well. Now you have to connect with him to what is the purpose? Two objectives are there. One, boss, I'm still there with you. I'm there with you. I'm there to support you. Two, can I have more business? So that's where the objective is. Either to tell him that I'm there, just to ensure that he doesn't forget me, or to say that, can I have more business from you? Of course, you'll start the conversation with rituals. Can I spend a little more time on the pastimes with him? So how are you dealing with the situation now? How are you dealing with it? Not how am I dealing with it? He may ask you, but it's better to ask him or her and listen to them to rebuild the connectivity. So I do the ritual, I do the pastime. The pastime will automatically lead to activity. It may lead to intimacy. You may share something personal too, but eventually ensure that it leads to activity. I have not, unless your objective is very clear, I am not going to ask for business. I just want to connect with my customers. Then your objective is very clear. Then activity is not going to be there much. Maybe you will just share with him that, okay, we are launching these new products. Like for example, SeaChange has restructured some of their businesses now, and they are relaunched, and actually they were sharing that they've signed up new businesses now because they have been in touch with their customers. Now, what do I do with it? I may say that I have restructured my business, I've looked at this business differently, I've launched this differently. So you just want to share it with him and let him know about it. So if he's in the survival mode, so he may think that you may be the savior for me. So how do I make him look at that I am the savior? If he's a stabilizing perspective, how do I ensure that I help him sustain the business? He's surging ahead. He wants to grow. How do I support him at this stage? How do I pump him with my additional support? So you must be cognizant about what his line of business is, about what his requirements could be. I'm sure you do your research and before you go and talk to him. So when you call them, just be aware that do the rituals, do the pastimes, move into the activity. Don't put the phone down. He feels incomplete. He or she feels incomplete. Either it should move into intimacy where you talk a little bit more. You talk generally about the band. Okay, boss. Okay, thanks. It was a pleasure talking to you. Means he feels that, why did he call me? So either you have something to share or something to ask. I must be very clear. As I said, activity is goal oriented. Let's be very clear about that. I have called up with a goal. So let me stick to my goal. But I will route that goal through rituals and pastimes and sometimes intimacy. Minimize gains. You cannot eliminate it. Sometimes it will come. You will realize that you add a game much later, but you cannot eliminate it, but minimize it. Be aware of it. Don't have debates with him. Don't try to prove one-upmanship that I know better than you. Yeah. So this is in terms of time structuring pie charts. You can do chart what you wear. You can also write a chart about what you are. Just to summarize our learnings, we looked at what does it mean to survive, stabilize, or surge ahead. We also talked about liminal and liminal space. We took some examples in terms of airport or parks or wherever. I mean, the parking lot or the terminal example. In fact, let me share with you. I don't know if he's left. There's a gentleman who was visiting from Hanoi to Istanbul. He had come to Delhi. He was somebody running away from somewhere. I mean, he had come to Delhi, and that day, Indian government announced that no more flights to Turkey will happen from now on, or international flights were cancelled. And he was stuck in the Delhi International Airport for about 1.5 months. I don't know whether it's left or it's still there. I don't know. So he's going through an uncertain period. Will I be released? Will I go back to Hanoi, or will I go to Istanbul, which is his destination? But he's a German national. So now again, will I go to Germany? No, there's a lot of uncertainty he's going through now at this stage. So, I mean, it's not a very pleasant example, but that's a liminal space sometimes in uncertain moments. So let's make our uncertain into certain by trying to spend time on activities, connecting with people as to how we should do that through rituals and pastime, and then completing with an activity. Yeah. So this is the time structuring part of it, and it's 11:50 in my clock, and I took about 40 odd minutes to complete it. Where are we now? And yes, if there are any questions, I would be very happy to take. Before I take the questions further, and thank you all for being wonderful participants. Let me stop sharing and hand over the presenter role to Mr. Anand.
Thank you, Mr. Raghu. Thank you very much for quick.
How do I give it to you? 1 minute. Yeah, I've done it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for nice presentation on time structuring. Quite a lot of learning, and I have made a note of several questions for myself first on behalf of our clients and our participants. I always, as you rightly mentioned, I always focus my mind towards MSMEs. So the moment you start presenting your views on time structuring, I was only correlating with a few of my clients' office, few of my clients at the leadership level, entrepreneurs, business owners, and all the 6 points which you listed down. I started correlating each of the points with the 3 people in my fraternity, and I thought I will ask few questions to you on behalf of them so that I will learn. I will also share the learning to other people. Before I start my question, I could start off checking the chat room. Is there any questions? I posted in chat room for people to please ask. Feel free to write questions, queries, and we will ask Mr. Raghu. I'm still waiting for people to respond to that. We are having about 21 participants, 20 participants right now here. About
as a trainer, one thing I can tell you when there are no questions. That is something we all learn. Either they are totally clear or totally confused.
But I have about.
So I always believe that they are totally clear. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So I thought I will ask.
Sure, sir.
See, you nicely explained that we all read quite often 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Stephen Covey is bestseller in 80s. The 7 Habits of Effective People. Every leadership people will have a copy of the book at home. We often refer to that. Before we go for any session, we go through, we brush them up, trying to understand the basics all the time. But now you said, time being, keep that 7 habits away.
No, I didn't say keep it away. You can connect it also, but look at it time differently.
Correct. So in that perspective, I have a question.
Please, sir.
There are people who are introvert. There are people who are extrovert, as you know, as all of us know. So introvert people, just because they are silent, just because they don't follow the item number 2, which is rituals in your time structuring. They don't say hello, they don't say good morning. Even in WhatsApp groups, certain groups where somebody will say good morning, how are you? All that they will say. For example, I say, every day to several people, blissful morning, blissful day, blissful noon. Every time when we start, conversing with people, we use all these rituals, pleasant rituals to make people happy, to make people comfortable. But some people are introverts. Number one, it's not that they don't want to bless or wish anybody. They feel like, we know each other for a long time. So why should we follow this ritual? So the moment you are coming on WhatsApp, it is explicit that you are actually doing good. So I don't have to really follow certain basic rituals like, Western world always say, I love you, Annie, husband and wife. In our tradition of India, in ancient system, husband and wife never says, I love you. Will your wife say, I love you every day morning? How does it look like? So something like that people used to feel in several parlance. So how do you look at this comparison?
That's a wonderful question, Mr. Anand. Let's take that I love you part of it itself. Even that I love you that a ritual or is that building intimacy is very important? If I'm just going to say I love you every morning because I have to say that 5 times a day, it becomes a ritual. So the same Westerner example that we're talking about, it looks at the spouse, looks at the wife or husband or whatever, looks at it, connects the eyes, and then says, I'm so happy today. I'm enjoying myself. I love you, darling. Makes a difference. Let's take the Indian parlance. Typically, still are in Indian homes, the wife or the lady cooks and the man supports. So the wife comes and serves. Now, am I going to look that and say, nalla irukuma? Where is the connectivity am I bringing? Connectivity does not necessarily mean I have to say, I love you, darling, to say that I appreciate your cooking. The way you enjoy the food and say, I'm just enjoying that. It's a beautiful rasam you made. Now people will ask, I will ask the question back. We have to eat 3 times a day, 4 times a day. The person also needs to be acknowledged 3 to 4 times a day minimum. So why is that me eating is okay, but me acknowledging is not okay? So I have to acknowledge, I have to make an attempt. Okay, let's take the introvert part of it, extrovert. It's a very, very beautiful question, actually. I'll respond to the WhatsApp part of it later. Let's look at still the physical interaction part of it. We are still going through the transition of dealing with that. So I'm just giving an example still with the parlance. He may not wish 100 people in the office when he walks in. Does he wish 5 people? Is he connecting with 5 people? Good, that's a beginning. That's a ritual he's done. So he need not connect with everybody. That's a choice that people do. Many people say, I would like to do a ritual with 100 people. I mean, I'm using the word ritual here. I would like to greet everybody. So he goes to cabin to cabin to cabin to cabin cubicle and say hi. That's his style. I may not do that. Or for that matter, I may not even go and meet even one person. I sit in my cabin. Somebody comes into my desk. Can I just say hi? No, I cannot speak at all. See, if you can't speak, you wouldn't have come this far to sit there in that chair. So it depends on what their style is. There is nothing that, you should now spend 20 minutes every morning on ritual. No, for one person, it may be 20 minutes ritual. For some person, maybe 20 seconds of ritual. That's fine, as long as you're aware. That's a starting point. Correct. Sometimes you will find people say, அவர் இருக்காரு உள்ள போனோடனே பேச ஆரம்பிச்சாரு ஒரு ஹலோ சொல்ல மாட்டேங்கிறாரு ஒரு வணக்கம் சொல்ல மாட்டேங்கிறாரு எப்படி இருக்கீன்னு கேட்க மாட்டேங்கிறாரு why he's saying I'm starved of rituals and pastime. Connect with me, ask me, greet me, say hello to me. That's where it is. I hope I have responded to your question.
Absolutely. So there are people who are typically extrovert, they go little over. It's actually counterproductive sometimes. So
that is their call, their convenience. Yes.
Therefore your 6 points, actually it is giving sort of a right blending. We can actually structure it in such a way that we don't actually have to go overboard on any one of these. Is what my learning is, my takeaway from this session. And in the chat room, Mr. V. Raghunathan has shared his statement, his understanding. You can also read it. And one more person, I think if I'm right, Mr. Raghavan has written that. His mission is Acer PC, which is Mr. Raghavan, I guess. And Rekha also has mentioned that it is very clear, reflect.
Okay. And shall I read one by
one? Nice that all of you are responding. I would say that many of us are now following the rituals. Yeah, go ahead with your inputs.
Is there any question that is asked? I mean, am I missing something?
No, there is no question. They only share their understanding and observation.
Okay. Okay.
And the recent post by somebody, I think Mr. Raghavan, he has written there about an air host before the takeoff stands, and can you read it out? Does some gestures as to how to pull the
out.
face
Okay.
mask. Yeah,
That's a ritual.
it's very nice. Yeah, very nice observation. I would call SOP, right? SOP is also ritual, right? Everything is SOP nowadays.
No, SOPs written is activity, but how it is followed, it can be an activity, or in fact, let me tell you, there is an airline that some of them share, I think Southwest Airlines, they make the announcement itself fun.
Okay.
They make it so they are now moving away from the announcements to be a ritual, to be intimate.
So they actually customize it and innovate it according to their organization ethos and individual ethos also. Even the individual makes the difference, right? Okay.
Possible.
Sir, I have set of other questions quickly to ask you.
Please.
See, for example, I've taken some 5 departments: accounts and finance, sales and marketing, production department, R&D, managers and supervisors in terms of the layers, and family and children. So these are the categories I have chosen. The question is only one for all these categories. The question is do's and don'ts of these departments have to practice to have better time structuring is what my question is. For example, just to cite an example for you to get a better clarity of my question is, normally accounts finance people don't speak much in any organization. The salesperson goes to an accounts department, asks for some reconciliation, some data. They will not even respond. They will respond, but they will not overwhelm that person. Oh, very good. I will get you evening 4 o'clock. I'll give you all that. Also, they will not say. They'll say, okay, fine. Please send a mail to me. So they will follow certain governance because they don't want to be very, very cordial with everybody because they are directly reporting to management. They are dealing with the very confidential data. Here, how do they practice this time structuring? Where you talked about games, you talked about ritual, you talked about, of course, activities, they are very good. Intimacy, they are not. Games, they are not. Pastimes, they are not. Rituals, they may. So withdrawal activities and intimate activity, these 3 things are really good for these people. So how do you look at this, view?
Okay, wonderful. There are 2-3 ways to look at it. One is we looked at the interaction as a sales to an account. So that's one transaction. We looked at it and through the pie chart. Now, in that interaction will come in my pie chart, but his pie chart would be related to my interaction and other interactions also. So we don't know how his pie chart looks like. One part of it. 2 part of it, yes. We will be dwelling on stereotypes now when we say accounts people are like this, finance people are like this, sales people are like this. We are getting into stereotypes. So I'm not getting into that. Now let's just take the same example of sales versus accounts. Now it is not sales versus accounts. Now if it is Mr. Anand in sales coming to Raghu in finance, it is Anand talking to Raghu. It is not Anand of sales talking to Raghu of accounts or finance. If Anand views Raghu as Raghu, we'll start connecting with that. The rituals may not be for long, pastimes may not be for long, but still, hi Raghu, so how are things with you? So, so I should do that when I don't have anything to ask from him or her also. I will only do the ritual when I have something to do. So they are already expecting that you have come with a purpose. You're only doing this foundation for that. Now, when I walk across the accounts department, can I stop and say, I just wanted to say hi, we are not able to chat at all. So tell me, how is life? Immediately the person will say, I am busy. They are uncomfortable with that. So we'll say, okay, no, sorry, I have not come here to disturb you. Just wanted to say hi. So second time you get hi. So do you have a minute? I just want to chat with you. No, I'm busy. How many times will the person say I'm busy? After 5 times, the person will say, come on, yeah, this guy is coming and talking to me genuinely, and I am not building up a relationship. Then the person will say, sorry, I got caught up, my pressure, this, that. That person will open up or will share or will connect. You have to build a foundation. It just cannot happen overnight. Intimacy doesn't happen overnight. After 25 years of marriage, I have to still build relationship with my wife to be intimate in terms of closeness. If I don't do that, I will go far away. That's where many of the divorces after 25 years, 30 years, they say we have compatibility issues. Compatibility issues didn't come after 30 years. It was not there for 25 years. Okay, there's some questions which are there. I hope I have answered your question.
You answered nicely, and I just recollected what one of the professionals, of course, he's no more. I'm sorry. He said it 15 years ago about intimacy in a single statement. It's very funny and very interesting, also thought provoking too. He said, intimacy is not in bed, not in bike, but working together.
Absolutely.
So with that, I like Ms. Rekha. In fact, Ms. Rekha, the same question I've written here as a seventh question to ask Mr. Raghu. The question is, can we create certain bucket system like percentage to be used for these 6 items which you mentioned? How much percentage should I allot for withdrawal? How much for ritual? Things like that.
It's a very good question, actually. More than putting a bucket to it, ask yourself, what does my pie chart look like and how should it look like? Rather than keeping a standard or a reference point or a benchmark, if I think that my rituals are low, I should build my rituals. To what extent should I build? If I do 5%, should I make it 10? If my pastimes are 20, should I make it 10? If my activities are 40, should I make it 60? So you redraw the pie chart the way you think it is. Many of them say activity must be the maximum. Activity cannot happen without ritual, without games, without intimacy, without pastime. Games are essential. Games may be harmful, could be very helpful, because sometimes only in the debates, arguments, difference of opinion, misunderstandings, typically a game is when you walk out and say, this is not what I wanted, this is not a game here for. Both of them are angry and leave. You know that both of them played a game, but when will they realize they played a game? They'll realize 3 hours later, 4 hours later. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. So you walk across and say, that's not what I meant, yeah. I just wanted to say I'm sorry, or the other person say, no, I understand. It is not that I leave it like that. I realize I can go. If I don't realize, I will continue to have more games. You cannot eliminate games. You cannot make it zero. You can minimize it. You cannot eliminate it. If you're looking at making it zero, you must be in the Himalayas.
Okay. In fact, Ms. Rekha asked this earlier question with the subsequent question now. The pie chart which you mentioned, pie chart, how much time to spend in each category? Again, the same question she's asking. So, how much time to be spent on each category in the pie chart?
The question again is, how much time are you spending now?
Because she's asking, it also depends on the other person, you know. That's what she mentioned. If you could read the question. Ms. Rekha, please go ahead.
Yeah, so basically I understand. Yeah, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So I understand.
Ask a question.
Am I audible now?
very much. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, my question is, I understand the pie chart is not depending upon me. It depends upon the other person, right? So, for example, maybe one person wants the intimacy to be like the ritual to be of a longer duration. Maybe for some, it is only shorter. So, should it be? My understanding is like the pie chart or the time I spend on each category, it depends upon the other person with whom I am interacting. Am I right in my understanding?
The pie chart is based on how do I spend my working time in a day, for example. So it is not dependent on one person. It is generally dependent on my interactions in a day, in a week, in a month, in a moment, in a 2 hours. It is not dependent on the other person. It is how I spend my time with the people. So if my pie chart, let's say in a 2-hour meeting, I'm just taking that as an example. I am quiet for 1 hour 55 minutes. It does not mean that I am doing withdrawal. I may pay attention. I may write down. So it's all activity. But it also shows that have I done my rituals? Have I said hi to people? Have I just inquired about them? Or have I started the conversation initially before the meeting? So am I interjecting and asking my doubts? So those are all how I deal with it. Yes, it depends on the other person, but it is how I deal with that across with all the people that I come in interaction in a day, in a month, in a week, in a duration.
Got it. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, Ms. Rekha. Thank you. I'll go to the next question with Mr. V. Raghunathan asked some time ago. Mr. Raghunathan mentioned that, say that if we cannot reach the intimacy stage, then any transaction cannot be successful?
It depends on how you have defined intimacy. You will initially in any conversation you'll find people may say that it is all because of activity. I got the business. It's a holistic experience that the customer and you go through where you have that. Intimacy does not all the time mean that I have sat there with him, listened to his personal problems or listened to his issues. I became intimate with him. The moment when I'm discussing with himself that I have paid close attention to his requirements, he may feel connected with me. I may feel connected with him. During those activities itself, they may be intimate moments. It is not that always it is a sequence. Now, okay, past time is I'm going to chit chat. In the past times, there may be moments when people may shift to sharing something and then may come back to chit chatting. It is not cast in stone. The question to respond to it, if there is no intimacy, will the deal not happen? It depends on what is the role you are having there. Let's say, for example, I am a boss of a company. I go and meet my client. I connect with him. Then I send my colleague to go and complete the transaction outcome. He probably may not build the intimacy relationship with the business partner I tied up. I may have built it with him. He may just go and do the activity and come. So he may have to build that intimacy with him later on. For him to take it further, he may have to do that. Intimacy does not happen like that. Rituals, pastimes, activities, rituals and pastimes, rituals are very easy. Pastimes, we make it difficult, although it's very easy. Activities happen naturally. Games happen without our knowledge. Intimacy also happens without our knowledge, but we must be aware. I'll I'll take a simple example of a boy and a girl. All of us are familiar with it. When is that moment a boy feels and girl feels connected? Something that connected them, they feel that there is intimacy. That's when they'll start sharing.
Okay.
Sharing does not happen as an activity. Something sharing personal with a client, with a family member, with relatives, with business partners happen only when there is an intimate moment. And when that happens is something we cannot estimate it. It's not a sequence. It will be there.
Okay. So a lot of thank you very much, Mr. Raghavan. A lot of posts is there. If you could see the chat room, I think Mr. Raghavan has given a lot of insights, his observations, and somebody asked one question. Actually, if you could see, um, I think again, Mr. Raghavan asked the components of the pie chart will be different for different situations. Sometimes there can be just 4 components only. And Balaji Swami asked, like, should you also not plan for nothing time?
Yes, when I in the morning or in the office space, I withdraw myself, sit in a space, I do nothing. I am not thinking, I am not writing, I am not planning, I am just being quiet 10 minutes. Nothing goes in my system. Yes, that is withdrawal. That is essential. Sometimes as trainers, we do that before the presentation, before we just sit quietly. We don't want to think about the program. We don't want to think about content. We just want to do nothing. Just be ready. That's the time I went today, for example, between 10:50 and 11. It's a nothing time.
Okay.
I withdrew from it. I'm not here. I'm not listening. I'm not watching. I've switched off. I put my mobile in silent. So it's a nothing time. That's a withdrawal.
Brilliant. So, in fact, yes, mentioned 7th component in the pie chart can be prayer time. That really
Prayer comes in the withdrawal. I mean, withdrawal need not be as the withdrawal. It can be meditative prayer. See, that is where is. Let me go one step further. Intimacy. I don't want to get into that place of it. Intimacy can also be with the God.
true. Very true.
Intimacy does not necessarily mean that it's only with people. At that brief moment, I connect with the Lord. I've lost myself. Yes, it is called withdrawal, but for myself, it can be intimacy. I'll give you a very strange example. Now, when people like Nelson Mandela was in the jail for 27 years, he's all alone. Other than 1 hour of probably coming out in a day, 23 hours is alone. What do they do? There are times when they are meditating. There are times when they are doing activities. They may write books. They may write articles. In fact, somebody shared with me that I don't know who did this. I believe one of the he was put in a confined prison for many months or years. He did not know what day it is, but he could see in a small space the sunlight coming in. Every time the sunlight came in, he would put a line in his wall to know how many days has it crossed.
Wonderful.
You work around that.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I mean, you really said it so nicely and so touching, and in fact, I would say you really taken us to the what they call self-actualization state. You said, the withdrawal is connected to even you can have intimacy with God, which is nothing but spirituality. The spirituality is all about connecting yourself to the ultimate nature, God, whichever you believe in. That's beautifully you put it. Thank you so much, Mr. Raghu. And Mr. Raghavan is going on giving a lot of insights. I'm very happy about him. He said the 8th component. In fact, he has moved into 8th component in the pie chart. Is introspection of the day went by, which means I think we can expand with our own experiences and life's experiences to define and design our own framework on time structuring. I guess you have done a nice justice to this 1.5 hours session, Mr. P.K. Raghunathan sir. Taken you a lot of time, efforts to prepare this and present it as a capsule. Thanks to COVID-19, we are able to connect through this webinar and taking experts advice to all our member participants, lovely member participants. This session we had quite a lot of interaction in the chat room, never before. In fact, I must share my gratitude and thank you so much each one of you for sharing your reflection, your introspection in this session. I guess we have come to the end of this workshop. I think one more question was asked in the chat room. Let me just quickly see. Mr. Balaji Swami was asking, please share a recording of this session by email. Absolutely, sir. Thank you so much. You also mentioned, somebody mentioned sea change brings sea change. Of course, sir, this is a humble effort of our organization. The last 40-45 days, always Mr. Prakash, my partner, says, move from circle of concern to circle of influence. When the world is crying, let's celebrate. Meaning, we will make everybody celebrate. We will inspire more people. What is the point in keep crying and keep talking about the worst situations happening around us? It's happening anyway. It is going to happen. It's going to be there for next 6 months, 1 year, whatever. Let's try to inspire as many people as possible. So thanks to each and every expert, Mr. P.K. Raghunathan, who came forward and extended his support to webinars like this. I would end this session with a quick final ritual of mine, which I do. The ritual is, we are actually extending our support through e-consulting, e-coaching, e-training, e-support services. Not all of them are business-oriented alone. There are certain things we do it as a CSR. Feel free to first connect with us. We have our helpline numbers and our executives working from home. Always connect with us, ask your queries. Even our earlier recorded videos, we will share it with you. We have done for digital, we have done manufacturing, we have done on sales strokes, we have done on costing, finance, working capital. Almost 5 workshops we have conducted, webinars we conducted. We will keep sharing all these videos, but we are actually don't know each one of you in terms of your contact numbers. So one of the challenge we encountered in the last few webinars, we could see only here during the webinar time. After that, we only if you're interested, you'll come back for the next webinar. So kindly leave your mobile number and email ID to our office. I will share the contact details of our office. Please SMS or WhatsApp to them. Here in this slide, you could see 2 things. We offer for MSMEs 360, C360 business health scan support services online, 100% online. And we also offer strategic advisory services for companies. And this is our contact details. Please make a note of any of these numbers or both numbers. Immediately after the session is over, please type your name and your email ID and please send it to these numbers so that we will privately update you all the insights and the forthcoming webinars also. Get connected with our online Sea Change online digital login on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, everywhere. And you can visit seachangeworld.com to download the COVID-19 health guidelines, which we created along with SIPACA, which is a healthcare organization. And before I end this session, I'd like to first share my gratitude and thanks to Cisco WebEx. Cisco WebEx has extended their support to us. As I always mention in my webinar, like we used to use only Zoom, but after the government of India, warned us, better be safe with Zoom. We immediately, started search of the right product. WebEx came to our office. I mean, the sense online. They said we will extend our support to you. So they have given the enterprise edition. So I must say thank you to a team WebEx, the support people. We are able to host webinar every day comfortably sitting from home. With that, I'd like to end this session with the announcement of the tomorrow's session. Tomorrow it's going to be another very interesting topic on Project Management Office 5-year IT sustenance plan by Mr. G.N. Sivaramakrishna. Is a global IT project expert. For more than 3 decades across the globe, he traveled and worked with several major IT majors. And this workshop is going to be for IT space, IT years, consulting, professionals, all walks of life for that matter. Even students can learn a lot of things. So he is going to walk us through the entire 5-year IT sustenance plan for office tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. So with that, thank you so much, Mr. Raghunathan, sir, and Along with you, I thank each and every participant for attending this workshop. Thank you so much. Take care. I'll catch you tomorrow morning at 11. Thank you, Mr. Raghu, sir.